from the KWQC Broadcast Center, this is TV6 News at 10.
It was by far the hardest one I've ever had delivered.
Remembering a devastating day, an entire community looking back 1 year after the bodies of two young cousins were found in an Iowa park.
A few clouds overnight, and cold temperatures will remain in place tomorrow and into the weekend. We'll have the details in your first alert forecast.
Dubuque County 911.
Making a big difference in an emergency when seconds count. Authorities in one Iowa county say a new online system will help them better serve the community.
Topping your first 6 minutes tonight, major repair work will close the Centennial Bridge for a month this summer after inspectors found more work was needed on the bridge than originally planned. Good evening, I'm Sharon DeReek.
And I'm Gary Bativier. It is a story we first brought you as a TV6 investigation this summer. Centennial is the worst rated bridge in the Quad Cities. On a scale of 0 to 100, with 0 being the worst, the Centennial scores a 3.4.
KWQC investigative reporter Mark Stevens says the repairs will focus on the bridge's rusting metal.
In that 3.4 overall score, Centennial's superstructure, the silver painted steel that you see driving over, has suffered the most. The inspection reports show they're in serious condition, suffering from significant rust. The bridge closure is needed to repair steel running crosswise on the bridge, and that closure is not popular with drivers or business owners.
It's going to be hectic, really hectic.
Certified nursing assistant Almeda Smith drives across Centennial Bridge at least twice a week to visit family. She says a month-long closure will cause many problems, especially if her backup bridge, the government bridge, keeps getting opened for barge traffic.
It was going to be a disaster, especially for the people that use public transportation to get to and from work. That's going to be difficult for a lot of people.
Well, probably several times a day. I travel back and forth for work as a painting contractor.
Eric Ritchie says he'll have to choose his routes carefully. His job takes him all over the Quad Cities. He expects the summer closure to add to his driving time.
It could cost me time in trying to get to work, having to get up earlier or leave earlier in order to do that. It's just going to change my lifestyle.
Our goal is ultimately to try to keep as many lanes open as possible. The situation is with the Centennial Bridge that the work actually necessitates the full closure of that bridge.
Gina McCullough is the Bi-State Regional Commission's planning director. She says 20% of Quad Cityans live in one state and work in the other. Putting the closure in the late summer helps ease one issue.
One of the times when there's the fewest impacts to our local festival season.
Business owners still worry about the impact to their customer base.
I do have a lot of Davenport customers, and they do use the Centennial.
Steve Barkin says he'll have to wait and see what effect the closure will have this summer.
I don't look forward to it, but I see it's necessary.
He hopes the repair doesn't take longer than planned. In Rock Island, Mark Stevens, KWQC, TV6 News.
IDOT says repairs will fix the most critical issues on the bridge. It has said Centennial will be the next Quad City bridge targeted for replacement once work on the new I-74 bridge is complete. And while reconstruction on the I-74 bridge won't start for years, a number of construction projects are planned in anticipation of the changes. Those could begin late next year in Bettendorf and Moline, preparing for new ramps and roads. Crews are already tearing down buildings to make way for the new bridge. 38 businesses are moving or closing. Originally, the plan was to begin construction in 2018 with an 8-year timeline. But in November, the DOT announced a plan to save about $50 million and reduce the timeline to about 3.5 years. That fast-track plan could mean more lane and ramp closures happening close together.
Well, definitely a cold day and another cold night ahead of us, and more cold weather right through the weekend and into next week. And we'll even be talking about some snow in a few more minutes. 18 right now in the Quad Cities, 14 in Monticello, 14 in Galena, 13 in Dubuque. Off to the south, not much of a bargain there, 19 in Macomb, about the warmest we can find, 21 in Princeton. Of course, this is all negated by the fact that we have a northwest wind still at about 10 to 15 miles per hour, so our wind chill's already in the single digits, either above or slightly below zero, and that will be the trend through the night with high clouds passing on through. 17 at midnight. We'll start the day at 11, and by lunchtime, 18 degrees, filtered sun, highs near 20.
When there's an emergency, those answering the 911 call say the more information, the better. As of this week, Dubuque County is the first county in Iowa to adopt a new service to help with that. But as KWQC's Bailey Dietz shows us, it's all up to residents to participate.
Well, we all know that in an emergency situation, seconds count. For dispatchers, police, and paramedics to know certain little details about a family, it can make a big difference. On Monday, Smart 911 went live for Dubuque County. It's a software where area residents who want to participate can create a free household profile online and can input things like how many people live in a home, where the bedrooms are, medical conditions, emergency contact information, even pet information. All of that is secure and connected to whatever phone number the user wants, and that information would only pop up for the dispatcher to see if someone dials 911 from that line.
A lot of times if we get like a hang-up call or somebody that calls in and doesn't talk, and we don't know how to treat that, if we get information that says they have a cardiac history or that they are hearing impaired or other signs that maybe this is a legit call, we get an ambulance going right away.
Now, no one is forced to sign up if you're worried about privacy. Those in Dubuque County who started a Smart 911 profile will need to update it every 6 months, so first responders will have recent information if there's an emergency. We're told other counties have expressed interest in starting this service as well. Sharon?
Forfeiture funds from the Drug Task Force are being used to pay for the first year of the software. Then the annual cost of $14,000 will be split between the Dubuque Police, Sheriff's Department, and other law enforcement agencies in the county. Officials say it's budgeted and won't affect fees for the public.
Tonight, a graphic incident of animal cruelty. Police say a Moline man dragged a dog on a leash across concrete behind a motorized scooter. 47-year-old Samuel James May was arrested for 1 count of animal cruelty. On Sunday, police say officers conducted a business check at a convenience store on Avenue of the Cities. They learned a dog was being treated in a cruel manner. And after reviewing the store video and speaking to witnesses, they were able to locate the suspect and his dog. TV6 has obtained video of that incident, but due to its graphic nature, we are choosing not to air it.
A hotly debated pension reform plan for Illinois is a law tonight. Governor Pat Quinn signed the measure this afternoon. The law reduces retirement benefits for state employees, saving an estimated $160 billion over 30 years. The law won't take effect until June, but court challenges are expected. Several unions are calling the benefit cuts unconstitutional.
1 year ago, the bodies of Lyra Cook and Elizabeth Collins were found by hunters in a Bremer County, Iowa park. Today, families and friends of the two cousins continue to search for answers. But as Nikki Newborough reports, authorities say this is far from a cold case.
December 5th, 2012, one of the hardest days of Drew and Heather Collins' life. Their oldest daughter and niece found by hunters, dead at 7 Bridges Park in Bremer County.
Today at approximately 12:45 p.m., law enforcement was notified by hunters that they had discovered 2 deceased bodies in a wooded area.
Heather says telling Elizabeth's 3 other siblings was very difficult.
We had a police officer go get them and bring them home, bring them to the police station. And we sat in a room and Drew told them. Probably one of the hardest things he's ever had to do for us to do.
Evansdale Police Chief Kent Smock was tasked with the job of telling the families, but he says it was something he needed to do.
In this line of work, we do death notifications often, and we're the bearer of bad news. Because of my association with the family, because I've gotten to know them, it was by far the hardest one I've ever had to deliver, but it was one that I felt that I needed to do.
He says his department gets asked often if this case has grown cold, but he says it's far from that. He says although the number of tips to the tip line have dropped, they have someone every day working on this case.
Most cases, within the first 24 to 48 hours, develop a direction that the case follows. This case is very complex. It's frustrating, but it has taken so many different directions.
Drew says he understands finding his daughter and niece's killer is going to take time. But if you could say one thing to that person,
you're going to be caught today, may not be today, might be tomorrow. be ready for that knock on your door. It's coming.
Chief Smock says although they are still following up on a number of leads, authorities have not ruled out Michael Klunder. In May, Klunder abducted 2 girls near Dayton, Ohio, killing one of them before taking his own life. Smock says they have information about Klunder's whereabouts the day the girls went missing, but are not yet ready to release it. Still to come at 10, he was a political leader beloved around the world. Tonight, we remember Nelson Mandela.
And officially, our high temperature today will go down as 27. That was at midnight. The best we did this afternoon, 21. Wind chills kept it feeling much colder than that, and that'll be the trend over the next few days. 70 forecast next.
Private First Class Omar Garcia, stationed with Combined Task Force Dragoon in Kandahar, Afghanistan. I'd like to wish my family in Molina, Illinois, un feliz Navidad y Año Nuevo. Y también felicidades a mi hermana que cumple años. Los quiero y los verás pronto.
You're watching Gary Mativier and Sharon DeReek. This is KWQC TV6 News at 10.
Fast food workers and union bankers across the U.S. protesting what they call poverty pay for hard work. This one day after President Obama called for a higher minimum wage. It's a nationwide push by labor unions to hike the federal minimum wage from the current $7.25 an hour to $15 an hour. A raise opposed by the National Restaurant Association. Reps say the increase would mean a hike in prices and fewer hiring opportunities.
And now, the Quad Cities' most reliable forecast with Chief Meteorologist Eric Maitland.
Well, today we had that thin layer of clouds between us and the sun, and there you can see it right there. Underneath, we stayed cold, and if you look at the sky right now, you'll probably think tomorrow that, wow, it looks just like Thursday, and it should. We'll still have that veil of high clouds and middle-level clouds over the Quad Cities and most of the area, but later in the day, some sunlight right before it sets could be visible as those clouds finally make their way off to the east. Tonight, it's going to be frigid any way you slice it. We've got wind chills that'll dabble below 0 for a while. And tomorrow, it looks like the wind chills stay in the single digits above 0, even though we'll try to get temperatures to the upper teens to near 20, which is no bargain for the day. And even colder on Saturday, even though we'll bring back a little bit more sun. For Sunday, then, some light snow. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a few moments. The snow tonight is well off to our south, and that does include a swath of some freezing rain and ice from Dallas all the way up to Indianapolis. There will be some headline-making problems as a result of that. Back off to the far west, so high pressure chewing away the clouds. It looks like that'll get in here late tomorrow and then through the day Saturday, so we will eventually see the clouds get pushed on out by the sunlight as we get into the first part of the weekend. Right now we're at 18 degrees, 14 in Galena, 13 Dubuque, 18 in Galesburg, Muscatine, Mount Pleasant, Burlington, 19 in Macomb and Rock Falls, 21 the warm spot in Princeton. It's all negated, though, by that northwest wind coming in at about 5 to 15 miles per hour. This will continue right through the night, and that's why our wind chills will only drop a little bit more from where they're at. Single digits across the board. 4 is what it feels like in the Quad Cities. Already feeling like 1 below in Monticello, 7 below in Waterloo. And again, with the temperatures dropping and that wind hanging on, we'll see a lot of these wind chills by morning time with a little minus sign in front of them. As a matter of fact, here's our wind chill forecast. And as we go through the night, they just keep dropping, and negative numbers by the time we start off the day tomorrow, and single-digit wind chills right on through the afternoon. Now, later tonight, or later tomorrow night, I should say, although the winds will start to decrease, the temperatures will start to get very cold because of the clearing in our skies. As a matter of fact, here's how that's going to look as we get into our Friday. We'll get to morning time, clouds just like today, high and mid-level clouds. Then later in the afternoon, maybe enough clearing to see at least a hint of a sunset, so that'll give us some hope for the weekend. 11 tonight, chills -5 to 5 above. Tomorrow, we'll only make it up to about 20. A lot of areas hold in the upper teens. 0 to 10 on the wind chills, so single digits across the board. Highs in the teens north of Interstate 80, low 20s at best south of I-80, and right here in the Quad Cities, somewhere right around the upper teens to about 20 degrees. And on our 7-day forecast, here comes Saturday. Starts off at 7. We only go to 18, even though we'll get pretty much full sun. As we look at Sunday, though, a high temperature of 24, and about that snow that we're going to be dealing with, it's not going to be much, but it will be a long duration snow, so it'll stack up to maybe 1 to 2 inches. Some areas might get 3 inches, and then after that, it'll mean some cold temperatures. 22 as the snow ends early on Monday, and look at that, 3 for the low Tuesday morning, 15 the high, then it's back to the 20s.
Well, people around the world mourning the loss of a major figure of the 20th century political world.
Nelson Mandela passed away today. The Nobel Peace Prize laureate was 95 years old. Steve Handelsman tonight with more on his legacy.
South Africans are already celebrating the life and mourning the loss of Nelson Mandela, whose death at 95 was announced by South Africa's President Jacob Zuma.
Our thoughts are with the South African people who today mourn the loss of the one person who, more than any other, came to embody their sense of a common nationhood.
He was born into the black elite of his sharply segregated nation, but Mandela chose to fight the minority white rule called apartheid, and he paid a heavy price, decades in jail. But when apartheid fell apart, Mandela was freed and was elected president. He made not revenge, but reconciliation his byword. There was no organized retribution. That electrified many around the world, like the man who would rise to be the first black U.S. president.
I would study his words and his writings. The day he was released from prison gave me a sense of what human beings can do when they're guided by their hopes and not by their fears. And like so many around the globe, I cannot fully imagine my own life without the example that Nelson Mandela set.
Now the world will gather to pay tribute to the man who many South Africans affectionately called by his clan name, Madiba, or just Tata, meaning father. I'm Steve Handelsman, NBC News, Washington.
And tonight, the flag outside the White House, as you see here, has been lowered to half-staff in honor of Mandela's legacy. Flags will be lowered on all public buildings, military posts, and U.S. embassies until sunset on the 9th.
Kids deserve a good Christmas.
Still to come at 10, bringing holiday cheer to families in need. Dozens of Secret Santas from around the QCA donating gifts to Toys for Tots.
Community support made for another successful Toys for Tots drive at KWQC today.
Yeah, because of your donations, we were able to fill 2 7-ton trucks with toys and raise more than $19,000. KWQC's Morgan Otier wraps things up for us.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas, everybody!
And it truly will be for more than 8,000 Quad Cities kids who may otherwise have nothing waiting for them under the Christmas tree this year.
Hope the kids really like it.
Military-grade trucks have been filled with new toys for families that registered because of the generosity of this community.
We know how important Christmas is when the kids are little and they look forward to getting something, and you know, life's been very good to us, so we thought we'd share and hope the other kids have a good Christmas as well.
I think it's a great cause, and there's a lot of kids I know that they don't have enough for Christmas, and every little bit helps.
Kids deserve a good Christmas.
Whoa! While most people dropped off toys for boys and girls of all ages.
Lots of toys, everything from Monopoly to My Little Ponies.
Many people made a cash donation. Folks from the gallery in Davenport presented a check for more than $18,000. They campaigned for the money all year.
Well, we kind of did this 30 years ago. We started doing it. My husband was a Marine, and so it was very close to his heart.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
And the Marines coordinating the local Toys for Tots effort couldn't be more appreciative of everyone's efforts here today.
It's always great here. We get people coming in all day long. It's one of those things that continuously help us out, and at the end of the day, it's one of the biggest events we have.
And that may be because everyone has the exact same wish for local kids this holiday season.
Hope you get good toys and have a Merry Christmas.
And thank you, Quad Cities. In Davenport, Morgan Otier, KWQC, TV6 News.
And in Washington tonight, a White House reception to mark the final day of Hanukkah. Hanukkah celebrations began last Thursday, November 28th.
You know, the first day of Hanukkah and Thanksgiving won't overlap again for more than 70,000 years. So it's safe to say that this was a once-in-a-lifetime event.
The Schmitter family joined the Obamas to light a custom-made menorah. Their father and husband, Jacob, is serving in Afghanistan. Still ahead in sports, Tom Cornelis tells us why Iowa basketball coach Fran McCaffrey was watching a local game in town tonight. Next.
watching sports with Tom Cornelis.
Well, you can't accuse Assumption basketball coach Joe Bear of scheduling a cupcake for his season opener as the Knights tipped it off against two-time Class 4A state champ Iowa City West and its 52-game winning streak. And the head Hawkeye himself, Fran McCaffrey, spotted in the Assumption gym tonight, not on a recruiting mission, although he may have the inside track on a 6'5" freshman from Iowa City West named Connor McCaffrey, the coach's son, who starts at guard for the Trojans, and shows here he's been the inside of a gym a few times before. The Knights hung tough, though, with the tall and talented Trojans. Evan Watzinger with a nice drive here for the deuce. Past McCaffrey, lays it up with the left hand. They stayed close, 18-16. Watzinger keeping the Knights in contention, hitting the open look here. But the Trojans gradually marched to the lead. They have Wyatt and Tanner Lowhouse, the sons of former Hawk Bradley, and they're pretty impressive. An Iowa City win streak now at 53 and counting as they roll by the Knights. 77-42 is the final. The North Scott Lancers went up to Cedar Rapids Prairie and got a big win, 80-65. On the Illinois side, it was girls' night out in the Western Big Six. The Almond Pioneers trekking across town to Iraqi. Lady Rock's up 8 to start the third, but Almond goes on a 7-0 run. Isabel Anderson finds Caitlin DeWitt, who zooms in for the layup. Next possession, all 5 Pioneers share the sugar. This time it's Dario Guzzo eventually finding Anna Weatherall for the jumper. Weatherall from the baseline, and the Pioneers are getting closer. Moments later, Weatherall will throw a little touchdown pass to DeWitt. Suddenly it's a 3-point ball game, 39-36. But the Lady Rocks regroup after a timeout. Carly Hoover will lob inside to Mercedes Jackson, just like they work on it. The junior takes charge down low. That ends the Pioneer run. And then the Rocks go back as well. Angel Parker feeding Jackson. And the Lady Rocks roll on this one. Final 71-53. Rock Island stays unbeaten. Now another Big Six battle over at Wharton Fieldhouse. Moline welcoming Galesburg. First quarter, Lexi Gerard finds the back door unlocked and open. Christina Bozikovic cashes in. Moline takes an early 2-0 lead. Down the other end, Haley Kelso inbounds to Sabrina Clay. She gets into the scoring column. Galesburg within 1. A few minutes later, Moline up 4. The errant pass, though, will get batted. It goes right to Shaylin Florine, who lays it quickly on her feet, streaks her right back into it, trailing by a bucket. But the Maroons stay on the attack. Alyssa Brems tries a 3. That won't go, but the rebound caroms right back to her, and Brems will settle for 2. And Moline goes on to double up on the streaks. 40-20 would be the final at Wharton Fieldhouse tonight. Over at East Moline, the UT Panthers pounce on Quincy, 79-23. Other girls' games, Prophetstown downing Newman. Durant beats Cal Wheat. Also, Anawan pounding lumps on Princeville. And Kewanee over Orion, 51-39. In college case, the Iowa women playing in that Big Ten ACC Challenge. The 25th ranked Hawks of Lisa Bluter battling number 22 Syracuse. Bethany Doolittle did a lot in the first half, scoring 18 of her 25 points. But the story was Iowa falling by 14 points down to make an incredible comeback, triggered by Melissa Dixon. She scored all 27 of her points after intermission, 7 of 11 from the three-point line, and Iowa takes down Syracuse 97-91. Iowa now 9-1 on the year. They host Idaho State on Saturday. Well, Mallards head coach Terry Ruskowski played for 4 NHL franchises, and he has won more than 500 games now as a minor league coach. After climbing through the ranks over the years, he's also moving up the ladder in career wins. Ruskowski won his 416th CHL game on Saturday. That win moves along past longtime Colorado Eagles coach Chris Stewart into 3rd place on the CHL list. The former Chicago Blackhawk has spent decades playing and coaching on the ice. He finds it extremely humbling to reach this career milestone.
It's an honor to have that. The thing that I have to really thank is my players that played for me. They did such a wonderful job in winning so many games for me. I really have to credit them for the accolades, I guess. Numbers don't mean a whole lot to me unless wins and losses in the season, and making the playoffs and trying to win a championship are the most important ones to me.
He's a perfectionist. He wants to play like, doesn't matter if you did it right the one time, he wants to see it right done every time, and he wants you to be able to change and adapt to the game, which is neat, and he lays it out for you. So
I thank my teams, the present team I have now and the teams I had in the past. They're the ones that really put me in the 3rd position, and I don't know, second and third seems like a long ways away, but we'll be pulling for that too.
Mallards continue their homestand with games Friday and Saturday night and Sunday afternoon, all against the Brampton Beast. That's sports. Gary and Sharon wrap it up right after this.
Well, we'll go for about 20 degrees tomorrow, but thanks to the wind, we'll keep the feeling like the single digits with that wind chill. Colder on Saturday. We get the sun back, but it's only going to top off at 18. Then we get a light snow Sunday into Monday, maybe a couple inches or so of a powdery fluff. Some of that might stick to the roads, though, because it's been awfully cold, if you haven't noticed.
There goes your golf game.
It's been cold?
It's been going for a while.
It's been gone even since summer.
Well, there's nothing to do with it.
Next news 4:30.
Good night.